Byron, the level 1 Goliath Paladin, today on Dungeons and Taverns. Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Taverns. My name is Saul Sunforge, and I've been a DM since I was in the Navy back in 2002. This channel is a place to be if you're curious about what Dungeons and Dragons is, or if you are a new player or DM looking for advice and feel overwhelmed by a lot of the choices on YouTube. In today's video, I'll be making Byron, a level 1 Goliath Paladin for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Paladins and clerics are very similar. Both can heal, both can don heavy armor, and both can use a shield and fight up front. I often think that clerics could be a subclass of paladins, or paladins could be a subclass of clerics. Alright, so let's bring you to Byron's character sheet here. Alright, so here we are at Byron's character sheet. You can see level 1 Paladin, Goliath. His character name, he's neutral good. Neutral good simply means he's not biased, but he's very helpful. He helps the needy, he heals, he's very kind, maybe sort of in touch with his emotions. So very different than the dichotomy that you would think of for Goliath. Goliaths are on page 108 of Volo's Guide to Monsters. You can read all about them there, but they're reclusive, sort of if you think of barbaric tribes. So the Goliaths wander from mountaintop to mountaintop. They're competitors, but they believe in fair play. So that fits in kind of with the paladin, because paladins mostly, you think of a traditional paladin as somebody who's chivalrous and believes in fair play. Now, don't forget that you're going to have to name your paladin 2 other names. I named him Byron, but you have to think of a nickname that's assigned by a tribal chief and a family or clan name. I'm leaving those up to you. It says here that clan names are 5 syllables or more and they end in a vowel, but I'm leaving that up to you. That's all very flexible. You can see here that Goliaths get a bonus of 2 for strength and a +1 to their constitution. They have lifespans comparable to humans. They enter adulthood in their late teens and usually live less than a century. Goliaths are between 7 and 8 feet tall, weigh between 280 and 340. Their size is medium. Their 30 feet is their speed. They have proficiency in athletics. They can focus themselves to occasionally shrug off injury. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d12 and then add your constitution modifier to the number rolled and reduce damage by that total. After you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. That is beastly. That is beastly. Wow. Powerful build. You count as 1 size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift. You're acclimated to high altitude, including elevations above 20,000 feet. You're also naturally adapt to cold climates. You can speak, read, and write Common and Giant. Pretty sweet kit. So I'm going to go back to the character sheet and fill those things out. You can see here that I gave the +2 for strength and 1 constitution prior to rolling. We are also proficient in athletics. Our speed is 30. Our size category is medium. One thing that Volo's Guide to Monsters doesn't say about Goliaths is that they're frost. They are resistant to cold. Rime of the Frost Maiden has clarified that. But in the book, it just talks about their high elevation. And so at a higher elevation, in order not to die, you would have to be resistant to it. And they just forgot that. So now you know that Goliaths are cold resistant. Alright, so, excuse me, Byron is 31 years old. He's 7 foot 6 inches, 295 pounds. He has blue eyes, he has brown skin, and he has black hair. Before we roll up our stats, I wanted to go over the oaths. The other classes, bards, they have colleges, and druids have circles. So paladins have something called oaths, and they changed the way you play your paladin. So on page 85 of the player's handbook is the Oath of Devotion. These paladins are the typical knight in shining armor that you would think about. They hold the highest ideals of justice, virtue, and order. They have an ability at level 3 they get called Channel Divinity. All paladins get it. Each different oath changes your Channel Divinity. That's what we're going to cover now. For the Oath of Devotion, their Channel Divinity allows them for 1 minute to add their Charisma modifier to their attack rolls. And their weapon emits bright light in 20 feet. It's considered magical for the duration. The Oath of the Ancients. These paladins adorn their cloaks and shields with imagery of growing plants and vines that represent their commitment to preserving life. They're on the side of light against their struggle versus dark. Your Channel Divinity causes vines to spring forth and reach for the creature you can see within 10 feet of you, ensnaring them. The last one in the player's handbook is the Oath of Vengeance. You can punish those who have committed a grievous sin, set the wrongs of others right. With your Channel Divinity, you can frighten creatures within 60 feet of you, or you can gain advantage against them for 1 minute. Page 37 of Xanathar's Guide to Everything, the Oath of Conquest. Paladins who seek glory of battle by subjugating their enemies. Some of these paladins consort with the 9 hells because they favor law over showing mercy. You can use your Channel Divinity to frighten all enemies that you can see within 30 feet. Or you can add a +10 to your attack roll, and you make this choice after you see the roll, but before the DM announces the result of your roll, whether you want to add that +10 or not. The Oath of Redemption. Paladins of this oath believe that anyone can be redeemed and face evil creatures in hopes to turn them to the light, and only use violence or killing as a last resort. Your Channel Divinity can give yourself a +5 to your Charisma Persuasion check for the next 10 minutes. Or you can rebuke those who use violence. You can force those who hit with an attack within 30 feet of you that you can see. You can force them to make a wisdom saving throw, and if they fail it, they take radiant damage equal to the damage that they just dealt. So it has a very big potential of some huge hits if you use it against some boss level creatures or some gargantuan sized creatures. And finally, we have page 53 of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. We have the Oath of Glory. These paladins believe they can achieve glory through acts of heroism. You can use your Channel Divinity to give yourself advantage on strength, athletics, and dexterity acrobatics checks, or you can give 2d8 plus level and temporary hit points after you do damage. And then finally, we have Oath of the Watchers, protectors from extraplanar creatures, and they form spy networks to root out cults. With your Channel Divinity, you can give your Charisma modifier worth of creatures within 30 feet of you advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws for 1 minute, or you can use your holy symbol to attempt to turn aberrations, celestials, elementals, fays, and fiends, which cause them to move as far away from you in combat as they can for each of their turns for 1 minute or until they take damage. Alright, so now it's time to go to roll 20 here and roll up our 6 stats. I'm going to roll them real quick. You know the drill. You roll 4d6, you drop the lowest. Anything lower than a 7 as a total result is a reroll. Alright, the first roll, we get a 9. Second roll is a 14. Third roll is a 14. The fourth roll is an 11. The fifth roll is a 12. And then the last roll is a 10. So, pretty good stats. You could work with them for sure. You'll see here once we figure out what the numbers are with our bonuses, the numbers will look a lot more respectable. Alright, so you can see here I put the numbers that we rolled in numerical order. So 14, 14, 12, 11, 10, 9. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take the 10 and we're going to put that into our strength. So 10 plus 2 is a 12. And then we are going to put a 14 in our dex, and we're just going to go with a versatile weapon and use our dex instead. I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and put the next 14 over here in our Constitution. So our Constitution becomes a 15. And then we have a 12, 11, a 10, and a 9. Or a 12, excuse me, a 12, 11, and a 9. So we will go ahead and put the 12 in Charisma, the 11 in Wisdom, and we could put the 9 in Intelligence. Yeah, I'm thinking about either if I want to swap the Wisdom and Intelligence. No, that's fine. That's good. As always, I'll leave the numbers that I rolled there on the side for you if you wish to switch them up yourself. It's important to note that Paladins do have spells, but at first level they don't have any spell slots. Once they get to second level, they get 2 first level spell slots, and their spells go up to 5th level versus 9th level for other classes. Paladins get 10 hit points at first level, and then every other level after that, you roll a d10. You add your Constitution modifier. If you don't want to roll a d10 because maybe your luck isn't very good, you can take the average of a d10, which is 6. And so that you'll always have 6 plus your Constitution modifier in hit points to add each level. Paladins are proficient in Wisdom and Charisma saving throws, so let's go ahead and mark those in there now. They get to choose 2 skills from Athletics, Insight, Intimidation, Medicine, Persuasion, and Religion. So we already have Athletics covered because of us being a Goliath. So let's choose Insight, and let's choose Persuasion. Paladins are proficient with all armor, shields, simple weapons, martial weapons, and no tools. Alright, so as part of our kit, we get to choose 1 martial weapon and a shield, or 2 martial weapons. We're going to go one-hand weapon and the shield combo. So we're going to go ahead and pick 1 martial weapon. And so we are going to pick the rapier because it's finesse. So we get to use our dex. So 1d8 piercing. It's 2 pounds and it's worth 25 gold. Alright, so now it's time for us to figure out our bonuses here. And the way you do that is you take each number, you round it down to the nearest even number. You divide it in 2, and then you subtract 5. So 12 and a half is 6, minus 5 is 1. 14 and a half is 7, minus 5 is 2. 15 rounded down to 14 and a half is 7, minus 5 is 2. 9 rounded down is 8. Halved is 4 plus a negative 5, which would be make the bonus negative 1. 11 rounded down is 10 and a half is 5 minus 5 means no bonus. 12 and a half is 6 minus 5 equals 1 for that bonus. And then let's go fill these in now. Alright, so our ability score bonuses and our saving throws correlate directly. The only ones that don't are the ones that have the little dot filled in. That's because you're proficient in those. So the ones you're proficient in, and this applies to your skills as well, you add your proficiency bonus. At level 1, your proficiency bonus starts out as a 2. So our strength save is a 1. Our dex save is a 2. Our con save is a 2. Our intelligence save is a negative 1. Our wisdom save is a 0, but you add your proficiency, so it's a 2. And then our charisma is a 1, but we're proficient, so we add a 2, and it becomes a 3. Next, we get 5 Javelins or any simple melee weapon. We'll pick the 5 Javelins and we'll fill those stats in here in a moment. And then we get a Priest pack or an Explorer's pack. So let's go see what the packs are all about. Alright, so page 151 of the Player's Handbook has the equipment packs here. So we get the choice of an Explorer's pack or a Priest pack. The Explorer's pack includes a backpack, a bedroll, a mess kit, a tinderbox, 10 torches, 10 days worth of rations, and a water skin. And it also has 50 feet of hempen rope that's attached to the side of the bag. Or you get a priest pack, which includes a backpack, a blanket, 10 candles, a tinderbox, an alms box, 2 blocks of incense, a censer, vestments, 2 days of rations, and a water skin. According to Google, here is what a censer is. A container in which incense is burned, typically during a religious ceremony. If you go to church, you'll see the deacon or the priest swinging it about, allowing the incense to go every which way as they're walking. So I think we're going to take the Explorer's pack. So we're going to go ahead and write all those things into our inventory individually, so this way we don't have to look up what's in the pack every single time. All right, there we go. You can see we wrote it down. Backpack, bedroll, mess kit, tinderbox, torches, 10, rations, 10, hemp, rope, 1, and a water skin. I put the numbers in parentheses there just so it's easier to keep track of. So whenever you go through a day of adventuring, you just reduce the rations by 1. Whenever a torch is done, you just do the same. It's a lot easier. The last thing we get is some chainmail. So let's write that in our character sheet. Under here, I put the armor underneath the shield, chainmail. And we'll go look those up here in a moment. Page 145 of the Player's Handbook has all the armor. So let's go ahead and find chainmail. It's under heavy. We have disadvantage for stealth. It weighs 55 pounds. It's worth 75 gold. And it gives you a flat AC of 16, but it requires a strength of a 13 to use. So for the character that I made, since my strength is a 12, it's not a 13, you can either save it and use it later once you increase your strength, or you can move the numbers around so your strength is a 13, or I would recommend selling it and using a lighter armor and keeping the change. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell the chainmail, we'll pick a lighter armor, and we'll add the difference to our gold. So I decided I'm going to pick up a chain shirt. It gives you an AC of 13, and you get to use your dex modifier, a max of 2, and there is no disadvantage, and it only weighs 20 pounds. You can see the difference between chainmail and chain shirt is 25 gold. 75 minus 50 is 25 gold. So that's the difference. So that's what we're going to add to our inventory here. Under gold, put 25. So the AC provided by the chain shirt is 13, plus our dexterity bonus of 2, which meets the requirement, the max of 2. So that means our AC becomes a 15. And then we also have the wooden shield, which gives an AC of 2. So 15 plus 2 is 17. Remember, if you want a higher AC, you can always improve your shield by getting a magical shield or getting an armor that's enchanted. And you'll get those things later in the game. I put the 5 javelins in the inventory at the very bottom, so this way it's a lot faster to find it than the alphabetical order, because your muscle memory, you're going to remember that it's there at the end. Let's go ahead and see how much damage javelins do. Alright, so you can see here javelins are under simple melee weapons. They do 1d6 piercing. They cost 5 silver apiece. They're thrown, and they have a range of 30 to 120. What that range means is that you could throw it out to 120, but anything past that 30 mark is going to give you disadvantage. And then obviously anything within that 30 mark you're perfectly fine. Alright, so before we move on to backgrounds, let's go ahead and figure out our attack bonus here and some of the damage numbers that we haven't filled in. Alright, so the rapier is a versatile weapon, which means you can use it with your dex or your strength. We're going to use our dex because our dex is higher. We're proficient with a rapier, so that means you add your proficiency bonus and your dex bonus to get your attack bonus. Your attack bonus is when you roll your d20 to see if your weapon hits. You add your attack bonus to that roll. So our attack bonus with a rapier is a 4. And then if you do hit, you add the 1d8 for the weapon damage plus your dexterity. In this case, because it's a versatile weapon, and when it's versatile, if you use your dex to attack, you use your dex for the bonus, and if you use your strength to attack, you use your strength for the bonus. Normally, melee weapons use strength unless it's versatile. So our dex bonus is a 2, so we have 1d8 plus 2 is our damage for our rapier. For our javelin is thrown, in the case we're using it in. So we are adding our dex because all range uses dex unless otherwise stated specifically for special rules. So we're proficient in it, so we add our dex plus our proficiency. So our attack bonus for our javelins to throw them is also a 4. And then you also want to mark your 30 to 120 range. Your initiative bonus is just your dexterity bonus carried over. There's feats that do increase your initiative score, but for right now, our initiative is set at 2. Our first background is on page 128 of the player's handbook, and you can see it is Alkalite. So let's go ahead and pick one out real quick. All right, so the background I decided to give my Goliath is the Hermit. So they gain skill proficiencies in medicine, religion. They gain tool proficiencies in a herbalism kit. They gain 1 additional language. And they have a scroll case stuffed full of notes from their studies or prayers, a winter blanket, a set of common clothes, herbalism kit, and 5 gold. So let's go ahead and add those to the character sheet now. So you can see here we added the medicine and the religion proficiencies. We added 5 gold to our 30. We have to put in the commoner's clothes still. Commoner's clothes. And then finally we put the winter blanket in there underneath our water skin. And a winter blanket fits in perfectly with the Goliath and that cold climate that they're from. Alright, so now that we have our skills from our background and our profession, we could go ahead and fill them in now. So strength, the only thing that affects strength is athletics. We're proficient, so we add our proficiency bonus. Dex is a 2, so everything that requires dex, like acrobatics, and sleight of hand and stealth is going to be a 2. Constitution, there are no Constitution skill checks in 5th edition. Intelligence is -1, so let's go through and give ourselves a -1 for everything that requires intelligence. Remember, throughout play, you can improve that once you get to level 4, or there's certain items that you can find that will increase it, or maybe you can find a deck of many things or something like that. With religion, we're proficient, so our -1 plus 2 becomes just a 1. Our wisdom bonus is nothing, so we go ahead and put a dash in there for everything that's wisdom. Our insight, we're proficient, so we add nothing plus 2, we get a 2. Medicine, nothing plus 2, we get a 2. And then for perception, we're not. And then survival, we're not. And the last, we have charisma, so that's a 1. So our deception, our intimidation, our performance, our persuasion, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I thought we were proficient in persuasion. Maybe we didn't pick that. Let me go back and check. Yeah, that's right. We didn't pick it because the Goliaths are proficient in athletics. So we only had 3 plus that 1. So now we picked 4. We have 5 total. So now we are proficient in persuasion. So we add the 1 to our proficiency bonus and we get a 3. And there we go. Our skills are done. So let's go ahead and pick out our personality trait, ideals, bonds, and flaws, and let's get out of here. Okay, first we got to pick the life of seclusion. What reason why were we in isolation? We were a Goliath. So let's see what we have here. I was searching for spiritual enlightenment. I was partaking of communal living in accordance with dictates of a religious order. I was exiled for a crime I didn't commit. I retreated from society after a life-altering event. I needed a quiet place to work on my art, literature, music, or manifesto. I needed to commune with nature, far from civilization. I was a caretaker of an ancient ruin or relic. I was a pilgrim in search of a person, place, or relic of spiritual significance. That could be an amazing one. If you work with your DM, we'll pick that one. work with your DM, and then they'll incorporate that into the campaign. Alright, so next let's pick a personality trait. I've been isolated for so long that I rarely speak, preferring gestures and the occasional grunt. That would go with our intelligence. I'm utterly serene, even in the face of disaster. The leader of my community had something wise to say on every topic, and I'm eager to share that wisdom. I feel tremendous empathy for all who suffer. That would be good for a paladin. I'm oblivious to etiquette and social expectations. That would be good for a Goliath. I connect everything that happens to me to a grand cosmic plan. That would work okay with a paladin. I often get lost in my own thoughts and contemplation, becoming oblivious to my surroundings. That would work fine with a Goliath. I'm working on a grand philosophical theory and love sharing my ideas. That doesn't go at all. So we'll go with I feel tremendous empathy for all who suffer. Feel free to change this depending on what type of paladin you choose for your oath. Next, we have our ideals. My gifts are meant to be shared with all, not used for my own benefit. Emotions must not cloud our sense of what is right and true, or our logical thinking. Inquiry and curiosity are the pillars of progress. Solitude and contemplation are paths towards mystical or magical power. Meddling in the affairs of others only causes trouble. If you know yourself, there's nothing left to know. Let's go with my gifts are meant to be shared with all, not used for my own benefit. Alright, then let's go through the bonds. Nothing is more important than the other members of my hermitage, order, or association. I entered seclusion to hide from ones who might still be hunting me. I must someday confront them. Again, that would be something to work with your DM. That's very compelling. It will help them, too. I'm still seeking the enlightenment I pursued in my seclusion. It still eludes me. I entered seclusion because I loved someone I could not have. Should my discovery come to light, it could bring ruin to my world. My isolation gave me great insight into a great evil that only I can destroy. That would be... You could play on that with the paladin thing very high, to a very high degree. Let's go with I entered seclusion to hide from the ones who might still be hunting me. I must someday confront them. That's compelling story-wise. Let's go with it. Alright, and finally we have to choose a flaw. Now that I've returned to the world, I enjoy its delights a little too much. I harbor dark, bloodthirsty thoughts that my isolation and meditation failed to quell. I am dogmatic in my thoughts and philosophy. I let my need to win arguments overshadow friendship and harmony. I'd risk too much to uncover a lost bit of knowledge. I like keeping secrets and won't share them with anyone. Let's go with I'd risk too much to uncover a lost bit of knowledge. You could actually play this flaw in with the reason you went into seclusion. You know, the people could be hunting you because you went searching for this lost bit of knowledge. Maybe they're looking for it too. Alright, let's do a quick once over and see if we filled everything out. Background, hermit. Put your player name as you. Experience points. I don't know if you're playing XP or milestone, so I'm leaving that blank. Your hit points, proficiency, your skills, your bonuses, your saving throws, personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, your stone endurance, so you don't forget about it, the AC for your shield and for your chain shirt, your attack bonus for your rapier, your javelin, and the damage that they do, all your proficiencies, languages, your cold resistance, all of your gear. Oh, we have to give you your starting goal. We still haven't done that. Let's do that now. Page 143 of the Player's Handbook has your starting goal according to your class. So we're a paladin, so we get 5d4 times 10 gold. So let's go ahead and roll that out now. Alright, so here we are, 5d4. We got 12 times 10, that's 120. So we add that to our existing gold. Alright, so we're back at the character sheet. 120 plus 30 is 150. So we're starting out with 150 gold, so really good. You know, you'll be able to buy some potions and things like that if you wish to. Alright, so let's continue looking over the character sheet here. We got the age, the height, weight, eye color, skin color, hair color, your appearance. That's up to you. I'll let you fill that in. Allies and organizations, you don't have that yet. Treasure, you don't have that yet. Your backstory, you can fill that in yourself. The spell casting ability, save DC, and attack bonus. Let's do that real quick. Your spell save DC is going to be 8 plus your proficiency modifier plus your charisma modifier. You can see our charisma modifier is a 1, our proficiency is a 2, so 8 plus 2 is a 10. And then 10 plus 1 for our charisma is an 11. Alright, so our spell attack bonus is our proficiency plus our charisma modifier. Our charisma modifier is a 2. Proficiency, excuse me, I said that backwards. Proficiency is a 2. Charisma modifier is a 1. So that means our spell attack bonus is a 3. We don't have any spells just yet, though. You'll get them next level. And then finally, our spell casting ability is charisma base, so CHA. And there we go. We're done with the Paladin. So hopefully you enjoy Byron, the level 1 Goliath Paladin. Make sure you pick him up, download him from the Google Drive link that's pinned in the comment section below this video. And stay tuned for the next video in the series. We're going to be doing wizards. We have sorcerers. We still have monks yet. And we still have a few to go. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe it and tell some others about it if you think they can use my help too. So thank you so much. Have a great day. I love you all. Enjoy.